Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse pregame show with Quis of Sports Vibes TV. My name is George. Thank you guys for joining us. We are going to, we're going to review last night's game. We're going to talk about any further thoughts that we had about it, especially Quis, since we haven't heard your feelings about last night's very unusual game. But first and foremost, welcome, Quis. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How's everything with you?
I'm doing good, man. I was a little amped up. Like I was telling you before, I was a little amped up last night by that win. I could not fall asleep.
I hear you on that one. Definitely exciting game to watch. I didn't expect us to have that major comeback in the fourth, but we did. So if you had the adrenaline pumping and you couldn't get some rest, I totally understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was because, God, lo and behold, all of our feelings were actually validated in that game. I mean, you and I have been having this exact conversation for about a year and a half.
About what, benching Fournier or playing Obi and
All of
Randle?
it. All of it. It all happened last night.
Yep.
Benching Fournier.
It was a melting pot.
Yes. Getting Obi and Randle on the court together. Giving Cam primary minutes. Cam on the court with RJ and Obi. We've been wanting that in important minutes. What else happened that we wanted that? We saw Randle get off to a bizarre start. Immediately a turnover right away, and then a bad defensive play, and actually culminated in Grimes picking up a foul right away. Grimes did start yesterday. He won't be starting tonight, and either will Mitch Robinson.
Oh, they dropped the starting lineups?
I believe they haven't dropped the starting lineup, but Mitch Robinson he was questionable. Now he's out. Yeah, and same with Mr. Quentin Grimes. So it's going to be it's interesting how we're going to roll right into this. Do you remember it was about 2 weeks ago? We had the show. We previewed the next 6 games. If we win today, we'll be 5-4, and that's what we were hoping for.
Yep, fingers crossed.
Yeah, it didn't happen the way. If we do it tonight, it would not have unfolded the way we were hoping.
Yeah,
we were thinking, maybe we can steal that Cavs game, which, we were there to do.
We had an opportunity.
We had an opportunity, and then the Hawks game was a total soul crushing dumpster fire, man. Yeah, actually, let me hear your feelings about those games, because we haven't talked about that specifically, not on air. Since last Sunday. Oh yeah, Sunday, because we did your pregame show, your Sunday stream on Sports Vibes TV, which you guys should always catch that show. It's on every Sunday with the Quis and Foxy.
Yep, we'll be live tomorrow, 6:15.
There you go. And so, what's your overall takeaway of the 3 games since we last spoke on Sunday?
Well, I'll talk about the first 2, since those were losses, and it kind of put a cloud over Tom Thibodeau's head and his coaching tenure here. You look at the Cavs game, we just didn't have, I think, enough talent out there to really match Donovan Mitchell and have somebody that can, make some of the big plays and big moments like he was able to do for his team. And he was able to score at will for the most part. We really didn't have a stopper out there to really disrupt him out there on the perimeter. We were hoping that RJ could potentially become someone like that, but we haven't seen it so far. And I think that was one of the first few games where we saw Cam get some minutes to try and disrupt a perimeter scorer. So I think that might have been where Thibs finally got the idea to use Cam as kind of a perimeter disruptor. So in that Cavs game, we ended up losing. We didn't have enough firepower to really battle back and get the W. And then that was kind of compounded by going up against the Atlanta Hawks, who, for the most part, punched us in the mouth in that second half and really took over the game. DeJounte Murray, he had a game. You saw him, you saw us. We really didn't have an answer for him in another game. He had, 36 in that game? If I'm not mistaken, 36 points, 36, and a ridiculous amount of steals. I think he had 6, in which he pickpocketed Julius Randle a few times. So we saw Julius continue to struggle. And I think in this game against who do we play again? Slips my memory, even though it was yesterday. Who did we play yesterday again?
Who did we play yesterday?
Yeah,
we played the Sixers.
There we go.
You know why you didn't remember? Because
I was going back to too many games. It was 3 games.
Too many games, and no Embiid, no Harden. So it was like that was like the. It was more like the six, not the Sixers.
That's who we're wrong with. That's who we're wrong with. And in that game, it started off terrible because I was like, yo, what is Julius Randle doing? My man had in the first possession, just completely coughed it up. Like you mentioned, it got Grimes in foul trouble. He picked up his first foul. He got his second foul early in that first quarter as well. So he was ended up having to be in foul trouble for the majority of the game. And to me, I was kind of questioned. I questioned Grimes starting that game. I thought, you know, when they were dropping hints, it was going to be Emmanuel Quickly who was going to get the start. But when they said Grimes, I'm like, but didn't they also say that Grimes is situational? So he's going to start and get limited minutes. That would, in effect, give us the same sort of rotations with Evan Fournier overlapping with the starter. So to me, I was happy to see that Cam was still in the rotation, even though we started Grimes and are starting to give him some minutes. And I was a little bit concerned because in the Hawks game, I was expecting them to use Grimes more so as a stopper when you saw DeJounte Murray start to go off. But then they played him in like what the last 5 minutes
of the game
in garbage minutes. So I'm thinking if we're being competitive and trying to win each game, and it seems like the coach's job is in trouble, why wouldn't you throw Grimes out there to at least see if he can disrupt DeJounte Murray? And now we're seeing, you know, maybe that disruptor is probably Cam Reddish, because we saw that what he was able to do against Maxey. I think against Maxey, he only scored 4 of the 30 some odd points he had in the game when Cam Reddish was guarding him in that's the last 6
we'll
or
talk
7
about
minutes.
that specifically because I rewatched the second half of the game because in my memory, my recollection, I thought it was Cam locking Maxey down. I mean, obviously Cam did an incredible job on him, but it was a complete team effort, and it's the advantages of that lineup. Everybody can switch on everybody. Randle covered Maxey. RJ covered Maxey. Even before actually Fournier got out of the game, Fournier actually did a decent job in that fourth quarter. In those first few minutes of that fourth quarter, it was a little shaky. Even he did a decent job defensively. The one guy who they kept away from Maxey was Brunson. But even Obi even covered Maxey. So they were switching and they were showing him so many different looks, and the length, he could not deal with the length. And that's the problem with, even if they're super fast, these tiny guards, when they encounter quick, long players that can switch on them, they struggle. And that showed it that last quarter. He really struggled in that last quarter.
Say that one more time. You kind of broke up.
He really struggled in that last quarter because Maxey? Maxey.
Because of the length,
because of the length. But they were all linked together. You know, it was like the perfect dream Thibs defense. You know, remember he said we're all on a rope together, you know, and just shift around, and everybody did their job. But Cam's length and the way he like shoots the passing lanes, it's awesome, man.
And when he's engaged, he does a pretty good job getting over the screens as well. That's one thing that I've noticed. You see sometimes when RJ's playing defense, he kind of dies when he gets screened, and it kind of puts the big in a bad position. But with Cam, he does a good job slipping through those screens. He's lanky. He can get around, and he can stay connected to his to the ball handler.
Cam is great at using his shoulders kind of to slip through things, where I think RJ's a little, even though Cam's taller, RJ's a little bit bigger. And I think, and he doesn't have that kind of like flexibility that
fluidity
that Cam does, the fluidity that Cam does. That same fluidity that we see that he uses when he finishes, those beautiful finishes he does, that's what he uses on defense to slip past the guy setting the pick, the guy setting the screen. He fights, he doesn't necessarily fight through it, he just slips through it, which
avoids contact.
He avoids contact. Yeah, he does avoid contact.
Shout out wrong with it as long as he's getting over the screen. You can't get upset about it.
Yeah, if he does the job, he does the job. Yep. Absolutely. Thank you, CL Kendrick, for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Around the Knicks-Verse. That's right. Great win over Philly. It was. I'm excited about tonight's game because I love back-to-back games when you're rolling off of really like a high at the end. And, you know, it's a short trip from Philly to New York. Boston has to do that similarly short trip from Boston to New York. Both teams played last night. Both teams won last night.
Yeah, Celtics came back as well, too, so they're playing off that high as well.
Yep. And it's at MSG. But like I said before, if you missed the beginning, and shout out to the chat. Thanks everyone for showing up and tuning in. Really appreciate you guys here in the Knicks-Verse. Hit the thumbs up button, please. Definitely appreciate that. And subscribe if you haven't yet. And share these videos with people who other Knicks fans if they haven't heard about the Knicks-Verse and Sports Vibes TV. Would greatly appreciate that. I lost my train of thought. What was we were talking about there?
That was me when I was going through the teams.
Well, we're going to talk about Cam. But the things we're going to talk about are, one is, as you can see below, can Knicks repeat small ball success? We're going to go into that. But first, we're going to talk about whether Cam should be starting. Now, tonight, it's kind of, we haven't gotten the answer yet, but
he has to start.
Grimes is out.
No Grimes, right?
Grimes is out. Thibs said he had light soreness in his foot. So it's a smart move to rest him on the second night, of a back-to-back. So no need to push him right now, especially the way Cam is balling. We're going to show you some stats of the way Cam's been playing the past 3 games. I think it's going to surprise everybody a little bit because it surprised me when I looked at it. And then we're going to get into whether the small ball is repeatable. But before we get to that, Quis, I want to ask you.
Yep, shoot.
Did you think Thibs felt he was coaching for his career, his coaching life last night?
I believe so. I mean, if you look at what he did in some of those closing minutes, playing Cam, playing Julius Randle and Obi out there on the court together, it really seemed like a guy that knew his time may be up and he has to exhaust all options if he wants to keep that job. I know some people might say, the front office is in his ear, but I think if he knows what's best for him, he should be focused on, doing what I think, not what the fans say, but just do what
he should do what the fans say.
not do what the fans say, but he should move in the same direction that the rest of the league is moving in. And you see other teams, they're employing small ball lineups where you still have length, you still have guys, like you look at our team, Julius Randle, Obi, Cam, and RJ out there on the lineup together. They can all, knock down the 3 with some level of effectiveness, and they all have length and can, stay in front of their man out there on the perimeter. So the fact that he was able to, move off of his rigid, rotations and lineups and actually go that route makes me believe he realizes his time might be up soon here in New York, and he had to do what he had to do just to see if it'll work. Because if we would have lost that game, I wouldn't have been up. I would have called for him to be fired at the end of that game. Did you see how the team came out to start? I mean, there's reports from Bleacher Report, not reports per se, but there's articles from Bleacher Report saying that he should be fired. And then you come out, and in the first quarter, Julius Randle had 4 turnovers, and then Derrick Rose, who's supposed to be your guy, he had like 3-4 turnovers as well. To me, that means your players aren't really playing for you if they know that your job may be at stake, and they come out there looking like that. So I don't know if he would have survived if he didn't go to the bench and bring in Cam. But even with me saying that, you look at how long it took for him to bring in Cam. So even when you try to give him
after he had actually a nice
first half. Yeah. He should have started the second half and then have Grimes come off the bench.
100% agree with that. He should have started the second half, which is what makes the whole thing even more shocking in a way. Because it seemed like he was searching for answers. Obviously, starting Grimes. And then we heard, I think Macri was talking about it. I heard him say that it's been the plan all along. It's just the injury that delayed it. It was the plan to start Fournier all along. And I believe you and I were the ones, the first ones to kind of call for that. We said there's no statistical and even the eye test reason to not start Grimes over Fournier. If Grimes was healthy.
When healthy.
There was no rationale. And then it finally happened, but that whole thing where at first it was like he was situational. Remember he said Grimes was situational? Mm-hmm. I think it's possible that someone, and Thibs was already there mentally, but he just needed someone else to kind of push. Someone just came to him and said, okay, for all we know is Johnny Bryant. We don't know. Someone came to him, someone that he respects, and said, I think we need to like make that move. We try some different looks tonight. No Embiid. They don't have a true center. tonight we should, because when he put Obi in that third quarter, late in that third quarter, I think it was only like a minute or so left in that third quarter, something like that. Mm-hmm. Obi made some mistakes. Committed some turnovers. He missed the 3-pointer. Missed 2 3-pointers. He committed a turnover. So it wasn't like he was instantly in the past. Thibs would have pulled Obi for something like that, but he kept him in. And I think because he was planning on bringing Julius back in around that 10.5-minute mark in that fourth quarter, he wanted to see them together, especially because Mitch got hurt.
Was out. Yep.
Yeah.
That's another thing, was his hand forced, seeing that he didn't have any sentiment, and he's not too confident in Jericho Thibs. At least that's what it appears with the minutes distribution.
Yeah, well, Jericho hasn't had much game time at all this season, so it's hard to judge a guy based on a few scattered minutes here and there and garbage time and stuff.
Well, what Thibs says, he sees him in practice.
Yeah,
so the fact that he didn't go to him in that moment makes maybe he's not exactly confident in him in that moment, and thought it was a better option to go small ball, which it was.
Yeah. Well, shout out to CL Kenrick for another super chat donation. This time calling out my boy, my bad sports vibes. Big ups.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for the support. And shout out to Lex the Destroyer, the best mod around. Thank you so much, man, for holding it down. Let's see who we got here. We got Willie Cruz. What's up, Willie Cruz? Kareem Grant, Connor Tulin. All right, we got the main crew here.
See that comment, George?
Giggles? Which one?
There's beef between Obi and Rick Brunson since when?
Obi to me. And Rick Brunson. Right here. Splashing 12676. What's up? What's up with the drama between Obi and Brunson's pops? I haven't heard anything about that. I'll look into it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, we'll look into it. I just haven't heard anything. Last night. If you have any other information about it, about what it was, maybe I overlooked it or went up, but I didn't pick up anything.
I know Rick Brunson was hyped though. He was off the bench. He was fired up.
Yeah, he was. Sure. Who was he talking to? I can't remember. I think he was having a good chat with. Was it Cam? I think at one point during a timeout, saw some interesting. But I saw the moment during the timeout. It was like the 10:40-minute mark, 10 minutes and 40 seconds mark in that fourth quarter. A timeout was called, and they showed the huddle. And Tom Thibodeau, his back was to the camera, but he turns because behind him was Julius Randle, and he turned and he said, "You're going in," or something like that to him. He spoke to him, and that was the moment. That was the big change. Can this thing? Well, before we get to that, can this thing continue? Because we're going to keep going on the Cam thing here. In fact, let's get to it. Let's get to our second topic here. And let's put a little music on. What the hell? Here we go. Let's see. Let's go to. Here. The question becomes: should Cam start? And now we're looking at this as primarily right now because Grimes is not even playing. But I was also thinking about in terms of should Cam just be so that RJ can shift down to a more natural position, guard. And Cam, and is there even an argument? Is there a case for Cam to crack that starting lineup? Because remember, Thibs always says he's got to earn it, which is why I pulled these stats out. This is Cam's stats for the last 3 games. Because I stopped looking at the beginning of the year. That obviously Randle was playing totally differently in those first 3 games since then. So it made more sense. Let's just look at the last 3 games, the games that caused us a lot of pain and suffering. And in here, it's clear to see when you look at the most important stats, according to Mr. Thibodeau, the offensive, defensive, and net ratings, Cam is number 1 in offensive rating in the last 3 games with 122.8 offensive rating. Just below him is Jalen Brunson at 117, and then Randle 10 points lower at 107. RJ's at 106, Mitch 107.8, and then Isaiah at 100 points. But look how low Fournier is, 94.8. Look at that, man. Look at that. And then you look at the defensive rating. Cam is 5th best in the past 5 games on the Knicks with 111.9, which is not a great number. I think that's more around the average. I think that's about the average. That was what the average was last season, I believe. But one thing I want you guys to look at Obi and IQ. Look at that. IQ 96.5. I mean 96.6. Rose is 96.5, but Rose's offense has just been atrocious, which is why he's a negative 22.7 in net rating. Yep. But IQ's defense, Obi's defense, I mean, those are outstanding numbers right there. So then when you look at the net rating, which is the chart in the middle, the first chart there, Cam is also number 1 on the team in the past 3 games in net rating with a 10.9. What is this? In fact, let's go to the next slide, and then I'll hand it over to you. I'm going to set it all up. So then I said, okay, let's keep going. How's the 3-point shooting? All right, well, Cam's leading the team in 3-point shooting, 42.9%. And Obi's right there, 40% on 5 attempts. RJ Barrett, past 3 games, 38.9%. So basically 39% for RJ on 6 attempts. That's nice. Fournier is there at 36.4%. Whatever happens with Fournier, I expect that percentage number to rise up, whether he starts or comes off the bench, whatever it is. It's going to eventually rise. He's a great shooter, no doubt. But those are some nice numbers for 3-point shooting, especially since we've been struggling. But it's primarily 3 bench guys and then 2 starters. Then you look at the plus minus, which is I love that stat personally, even though I know there's a lot of controversy or whatever. But Cam leads there, 3.7. Jalen Brunson's second, 3.0. And then they're the only 2 in the positive. The rest of the team they're all negative, which of course we lost 2 of the 3 games this week. Toppin is the 3rd best there, 0.7. But then when you look at the overall field goal percentage, that's the part that becomes the most dramatic. Cam, 60% he's been shooting the last 3 games. 60%. So what's your feelings about Cam in terms of what you've seen from him? And whether, I mean, his basically, does he have a claim? Can he make a claim for starting as the small forward on the New York Knicks?
Definitely can make a claim. I mean, you see how well the team played yesterday with him out there on the court, and it puts a lot of players in more natural positions. You look at RJ, I think we've been saying it time and time again, I think he's better off at that 2 position. So if you put Cam in, you slide him down, you allow Cam to, pick who he wants to defend. If there's a player out there that's a little bit bigger or more physical, Cam has that frame to body up with them and be physical with them if he needs to be. And he also is quick enough to guard 2s out there. We've seen him, at times guard Spider. He's guarded, Maxey yesterday. So we've seen him be able to do that. And I think if he's going to continue to knock down the 3, then Thibs can't use the excuse that we need shooting. You see the efficiency of Cam over the last 3 games, and in the most important one, the one we won, he shot 100% from both the field and the 3-point line. So and we also know that he's a solid free throw shooter. So you put all that together and you see how it affects the lineup, that starting lineup. Because remember, we brought in Brunson. We knew Brunson was going to be somebody that can cook offensively and get us some points, but we all know he's still a defensive liability out there at times. So you can use a guy like Cam to try and hide him a little bit, especially if we're going up against some marquee guards that could feast if they're giving Brunson as a defensive matchup. So me personally, I've been saying it time and time again, Cam is the best option to start on this team. I think Grimes, when healthy, is a solid contributor, but I think he should continue to come off the bench, especially seeing that we have him under lock for another 2 seasons. It gives us enough time to really evaluate him. With Cam, we have this season, and that's pretty much it, because he'll be up for a new contract in this offseason. So me personally, you look at this squad, you look at the lineup with Brunson, RJ, Julius Randle, and it doesn't matter who the center is, whether it's Hartenstein or when Mitch returns. I think Cam Reddish is still going to be the best option for us at that 3 position, both what he can do as a two-way player and also the potential he has and chemistry he can build with a guy like RJ Barrett.
And they got some nice chemistry. They really do. They really do. One thing I did want to point out, because I saw our guy Kep, he was mentioning D Rose. D Rose is shooting 40% from the 3-point line. He's just struggling on finishing, getting around people. And he committed a lot of turnovers in the last game, but his 3-point shot has been there the past 3 games, though not a much volume because he hasn't really played that as many minutes. I hope he's just off to just kind of like a little slow start, that it's nothing major, because love D Rose on this in the Knicks-Verse here. In case you guys couldn't get a good view of these charts, we're showing them full screen right now. Anything here in these numbers that kind of jump out at you?
Me personally, the offensive rating, defensive rating?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, before we came online, I was looking at Jericho Sims. That was way out of whack.
Yeah. To me, look at Mitch's net rating. Minus 20.5. And that's averaging 17 minutes a game.
I thought Mitch is 22, minus 22.
I mean 22.
Yeah.
Minus 22.
Our friend Fournier is 20.5.
Our friend Fournier is 20.5. I need new glasses.
And I need some. All right, let's see.
I thought that jumped out at me. Mitch's net rating. I mean, look at his defensive rating, 123.9.
Yeah. And he's got DPOY aspirations.
Yeah. So that's a little concerning. It makes me wonder if the knee issue that popped up last night actually has been happening for a little while, kind of lingering. And then
I've seen him
last night he finally
with his hand. I've seen him more so struggling with his hand than his and him limping around.
That was like 2 games ago, or yeah. But you know him; he's always on the floor. He's he's a max effort guy. So, and I know he wants to be out there. So he could be that he did tweak something, and that's why he's sitting out tonight. But that was the main. That net rating on him really jumped out at me. But Obi we got 4 guys shooting about 39% or better from the 3-point line. That's encouraging.
Quickly's concerning though, 28.6% from the field and 27.3% from the 3-point line.
Oh, yeah, that is.
I mean, we were talking about him potentially starting, because I thought he might be the answer when they said they were going to bench Fournier and have somebody else elevated into the starting lineup.
Me too. I thought he was going to be the guy.
Yeah, Grimes threw me through a loop. I said, what? I had to do a double take. I said, I thought Grimes was situational. So he's situationally the starter now? I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Let's see here. C.L. Kendrick. Salute. I don't care about Knicks beef. Let's play and win. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who knows? It could have just been like something that looked like a beef.
A little
hard
spat.
to tell. Yeah, a little spat. Maybe they were arguing.
I don't see Obi beefing with anybody though. You said it was Randle. I'd be like, all right, maybe there's something. But Obi, he's like Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky.
Yeah, and also Brunson that's not his area. Dealing with Obi, he doesn't deal with the bigs. That's what we have Othello Harrington for that. All right, he's the new Kenny Payne, I believe. I'll tell you, it might be a good thing. Kenny Payne is not the assistant coach on this team right now with Randle. Because apparently I heard some rumors that he was like whispering into Randle's ear about kind of not backing.
Being the guy.
Yeah, did you hear about that?
Yeah. I forgot where I read it from, but I read that article. Might have been a Berman article, honestly. Now that I think about it, sounds very Berman-esque.
Berman lobbing one in from Florida.
Yeah, right. Oh, shout out to him, right? He's retired, ain't he? He hung it up.
That's right. He's retired. He hung it up. Yeah, man. Actually, I'm trying to get him on the show.
Yeah, you do.
It'll be fun. I haven't had anybody else from the media on the show. It's just been us. But I'm definitely going to open it up and have some more guests. I was going to do it today, but just ran out of time. The 3 hours difference is such a pain.
Yeah,
it when it comes to the games and stuff. Let's see here. Shout out. Hey, I see Geraldine McIver. Welcome. Good to see you. Let's see. I shouted out Kept Giggles. Cheaps Ahoy. That's a great name. Wonder how many minutes Sims is going to get. Hope Thibs goes to small ball after seeing how successful it was last night.
Sims might see 10, 15 minutes tonight.
I think Sims is going to see some time.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard to know how many. It's going to be hard to know if it's like if it looks like we have a chance to win this game. I think that the rotation might tighten up. But if it's looking kind of like, we're searching. Blowout. Who knows? Yeah. Adrian said I vote for Collins on your show. We'll set that up. We're going to set that up as well. Knicks-Verse is gonna evolve over the next month or so. That is for sure. Thibs says, earn your minutes. Cam and Obi have. Absolutely, Willie. Absolutely. Oh, man. So small ball worked. Quis. Did you have doubts that it could work?
I had some reservations. Not to start the season, I had some reservations. But once we saw Obi start to shoot the ball the way he's been shooting, I really didn't have too many concerns. But to start, because the last time we saw small ball, we really didn't see it wasn't a great showing. I think especially with teams that had bigger lineups out there, they were really able to exploit us if we tried to use that lineup. But you look at the way the 76ers were yesterday. They didn't have Embiid. They really didn't have anybody that can dominate down low. So it was the perfect scenario for us to try and employ a small ball lineup because we knew the 76ers weren't going to have a beast in the paint to really get the one up on us. So I think that just set itself up perfectly. Everything aligned for us perfectly. And I think we can probably do the same thing in this game with the fact that Horford's not going to be playing. There's no Robert Williams. So we could see the same thing where we see the small ball. We see Obi and Randle out there on the court a lot of minutes tonight. That's why it was pretty interesting when he asked how many minutes we'll see for Sims, because it all depends. If Thibs uses that small ball lineup with heavy minutes, then we might not see too many minutes from Jericho today. I think we'll see some, but if the small ball lineup continues to work and Thibs stops being so hard-headed and actually employs it, then we won't see too many opportunities for Jericho Sims.
Yeah. Jericho, the small ball lineup doesn't really work with Jericho because he doesn't. Wait, did he attempted a three, right? In the summer league? I think he did it.
I think something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's got to develop that more because the key to small ball is everyone who's on the court can shoot, can score in multi-levels, at least two, preferably all three. And with Brunson there, he can do. He's got the mid-range game, he's got the finish, and he's got the three-point shot. RJ, the three-point shot I showed you guys. Actually, I showed you the top four. RJ, Obi, and Cam are all shooting about 40% and better from the three-point line. All of them can drive and finish. The mid-range game on those three guys, we haven't really seen it yet. Once in a while they hit a shot here and there, but we know it's in their bag. They just don't pull it out that much. Randle is the one weak spot from the outside shooting in that respect. But you have to have somebody with some size out there. And he's still a threat. He still creates gravity, Thibodeau's favorite word. He still can drive, and when they collapse on him, if he finds the guy, when he found Obi for that three-pointer on the corner, I think that's when they finally took the lead. That was fantastic. Randle in the first half would have tried to shoot that ball. But the second half, small ball Randle, knew that his better choice was to find the guy who's open, and he did it. It's the key with him. But if Randle's three-point shot can get up to 35%, that could be sweet. It could be very sweet.
Randle almost dribbled the game away a few times yesterday too. I'm like, oh man, it's like 2 or 3 of those same turnovers he had in the first quarter, he could have had in the fourth. And I'm like, oh, this guy here. Whew.
Yeah.
It's tough watching him, man. It's tough watching him.
It was really tough. Hey, shout out to the chat. We got over 120 in the chat. Great turnout. We're all hype, I'm sure. Got a nice fun game tonight, Saturday night at MSG. This is the kind of game I would love to have gone to see. Are you going to a game soon?
Not in the plans at the moment, but I'll probably get to a game. Work's been killing me, bro.
Yeah, me too. It's been hard to do the pregame shows with work during the week, but it's hit and miss. Hopefully we'll keep them going. We're going to try to keep them going no matter what. I saw some interesting tweets here. Gregory Lee says, as crazy as it sounds, Knicks small ball lineup can be the new Golden State minus Julius. Defense, he can be Draymond.
But we were saying that. I think I texted you that yesterday. That was our death lineup. I think you had a pregame where you asked what would our dangerous lineup be, or what would our perfect lineup be, and I think that is probably it right there.
Lex the Destroyer, a small ball should be situational depending on matchup. 100%.
Because if Embiid was there, he'd have murdered us.
Yeah, he would have murdered us.
He would have murdered. Yeah. Julius Randle ain't got no answer for Embiid. No, that's number one.
That's for sure. All right, let's get to the next topic. Oh, small ball. I keep forgetting about our little overlays here. Small ball working? Yeah. I tweeted this out during the game, or I guess it was after the game. After RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish joined Obi, Randle, and Brunson with 6:42 left in the game, the Knicks outscored the Sixers 25-13 to win it. But there were some scary moments there. But those four free throws by Randle and the pass to Obi for the three were, I mean, that was a big change. He doesn't do those, we don't win this game.
Yep.
So that's the key about a small ball lineup is everyone has to be like it. You can't say, oh, everyone has to be connected as a motive. No, it has to be, or else it doesn't work. You don't play the same way when you're small as you do when you have a regular lineup with a rim protector. And so
you don't have that help. You're on an island for the most part.
Yeah. And we're I think our guys are used to the idea that, okay, if a guy gets past me, there's always someone back there to clean up. Yeah. And even before it was, 2 years ago, we had Mitch and Nerlens. Yeah. And then last year, it was mostly Mitch, and we had some Taj. Then Nerlens did. I keep forgetting he played.
Yeah, right.
He was so injured. But right now, the Knicks are in 7th place in the East with a 500 record of 4-4, which I think any of us would have been happy with at this point. If we had said after 8 games would be 4-4. So in that respect, we should definitely be happy with that. When you look at the differential of points scored and points allowed, we are a plus 0.2. That's dropped. We were actually at one point the best in the NBA in that. But that's why early season stats are meaningless, because there's so much volatility in it. It changes from game to game. But after about 8 games, 9 games, 10 games, you start getting a real feel of where your team is at. And right now, we're outscoring the opponent by just enough. But right there, it legitimizes the 500 record. Any surprises here in these standings so far? Because I see several.
Philly, Miami, Brooklyn. I mean, those are 3 teams you would have thought would have been top 6.
Yeah. Look at Brooklyn, 3-6,
and now they don't have Kyrie for 5 more games. So imagine where they'll end up.
And they won last night without him. They won without him. Oh, there, I can put us there.
All right, there we go.
Hey, what's up? Peace out, everybody. Peace out. Let's see. Cleveland, 7-1. We could have beaten that team. Milwaukee, 8-0. I mean, we were competitive for a little while against the Bucks. So it's hard to judge this team right now that we are. Are we like a super mediocre team that just some nights might beat a good team and another night might lose to a bad team? Is that our ongoing identity? What are your feelings about what you've seen so far in terms of that, Quis?
I think right now we're middle of the pack until we start to figure it out and get a true identity. Because last season, last couple seasons, defense was our identity, and I think this year there's some issues with us defensively. Not as much as there were last season, but I think teams are getting their points a lot easier than we've seen in the last couple years. So until we get that identity, I think we'll still be a middle of the road type of team until we can start to excel in one or two areas out there on the court.
Yeah. I agree right now, but I want to get into something really specific because it's been talked about out there that there's a sentiment that, oh, well, if you fire the coach and you make some moves, this roster is what it is basically the intimation. Can is the ceiling what it is? Is the floor what it is? Does it matter who's the actual coach? Can you squeeze, any lemon juice out of this lemon at all, or is this thing just?
We saw that it is up to the coach, because once the coach actually started making some changes, things happened. You saw the previous game against the Hawks; they were able to make some adjustments at halftime, and they ended up running us off the court in that second half. And in this game, Thibs finally put Cam in, finally went to that small ball lineup, and we saw immediate success. So to me, that says if we have a coach that has a little bit more progressive philosophy when it comes to offense and how the team should be run, then I think we can probably win some of those close games that we ended up losing. So I think if you do make a change at the coaching position, there are definitely some gains to be made.
Yeah. I'm with you. I actually pretty firmly disagree with that sentiment, because I believe last year's team underperformed, and with all the troubles and the issues we had last year, we were only 4 games below 500. We won 37 games, which is more than the Pelicans even won last year, and they were a playoff. They got into the playoffs. So this team underachieved last year. The mismanagement, misalignment of the players, the minutes allocation of the players. If a player's not out on the court, he can't perform for you. If he doesn't get enough time out on the court, they can't get into a flow. Guys like Cam are rhythm guys. Obi started out that way, remember, as a rookie?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He had to adjust. Some guys can learn it and adjust it. And I think maybe Cam is also learning it, but at the same time, if you give guys time to fail and figure things out, trial and error, if you have quality players, which all these guys are quality. I was looking at one point thinking, look at that. Lottery, there were 4 lottery picks and a second rounder. That was that closing unit. 4 lottery picks and a second rounder. That's quality. Now, is there superstars? No, there's none of that. But the whole can be greater than the sum of its parts. But that the way the parts are adjusted, the way the parts are used is instrumental. I don't believe you can just give this lineup, this roster to any coach and they still perform the same way. That doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Especially if you're not putting priority into developing the youth and giving them time to shine. All right. So,
tail of the
tape. No Al Horford tonight. He's out for Boston and New York, in addition to Robert Williams and Danilo Gallinari.
I don't even know why they got to report that. Gallinari, yeah. he's out for the season.
I think he just wanted to stress that all the bigs are gone. With the Knicks all but certain to spend with the Celtics all but certain to spend long chunks of this game playing small, could be another opportunity for the Knicks to try Obi Toppin and Julius Randle together. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't tonight. It just worked. Knicks Analytics tweeted this out. Anally Knicks. Boston is ostensibly a matchup the Knicks could get away with Randle/Toppin minutes and no Robinson. Now, we're not going to have Robinson because he's hurt. He's out. Per Taylor_Snar, Duncan3s.com, the Celtics are 14th in rim efficiency, 18th in rim frequency, 29th in offensive rebound rate. So yeah, perfect matchup for us to feature some small ball. Absolutely.
Also would have been a good game for Mitch to go in there and dominate. So we had two options in order to try and get away with this game.
Absolutely. You know what? Even if we start using small ball as a weapon almost every night, not start them, but let's say we were going to use it. Still start Mitch. You know, Mitch can play. Mitch can average 20 minutes a game and still have a big impact on the game.
When he be healthy.
And yes, keep him healthy
and well conditioned.
Keep him fresh. Yes. And then then you have a lot of variety. Shout out to Willie Cruz. Thank you, man. Thank you for the super chat. He says, what do you guys think of Obi at the 3? Quis, you want to take that one?
I still prefer Obi at the 4 because if you look at some of the guys he'd be matched up with at the 3, they might be able to take him off the dribble, off the perimeter and things like that. You look at Obi at the 4, a lot of the guys that play the 4 aren't as quick, don't have as much of the foot speed as some of the 3s in the league. So based on the matchup, Obi may be able to play the 3. If you have a slower footed small forward out there, then maybe he can guard him. But I think for the most part, he's better off at the 4 than getting minutes at the 3.
Yeah, he's better at the 4 especially. But he does make a claim for it because the key part of being a 3 is hitting your 3-point shot. Ironically, if you want to play the 3, you got to hit the 3. Right. And he's doing it now. He's I said it. I started saying it a while ago. He's our best 3-point shooter right now, and now he just keeps being it. Though we saw Cam is right there, man. Cam is right there hitting his 3s, just not at the volume that Obi is. But
But Cam's misses though. It's like, why are you shooting the 3? He almost like,
yeah.
Man, he had some bricks. I'm like, ooh, that one was ugly.
Yeah. Oh man, the part. Well, Obi too, man. When he puts it up there, sometimes it's a little airball, and you think, oh, it's going to be one of those nights. And then
then he turns it around.
Yeah. The most impressive thing about last night wasn't just the small ball, which was fantastic for us as a fan base who've been crying out for this, but it was the timely hoops that Obi hit that were huge. That little stretch there, I think it was like a 7. He scored 7 points in a row. I think it was a 3, a 2, and a 3, a 2, and a 2, and that cut that lead down. I think then he cut it down to 4 or 5 points, and you see the team just started believing. They started believing it, and it was fantastic. That was with that, and that's ball movement, man. Ball movement, guys out on the perimeter, good floor spacing, transition game. All of that was on point during that stretch. Everything that we just didn't see in the first part of the game. Man, that third quarter was brutal. I think Obi, like you're talking about, like if we have a big go with the lineup where Mitch is still at the center, can Obi be the 3 and RJ slide over the 2? It's worth a look, depending on the matchup. It's worth a look. Tail of the tape. Knicks are 4-4. Boston is 5-3. Knicks are averaging 115.1 points per game, and the Celtics are averaging 1 point more per game. So very close right there. We are, we actually have been one of the better rebounding teams, which is ironic because people have been complaining about the rebounding lately. We're averaging 50.1. Boston's down to 42.
We're second best at rebounds per game, right? Or something like that?
I think we're second best now. We were first, I think. Yeah, but now we're second best, yeah. Assists per game, look at us at 25. Nice, healthy number.
What was it last year? 20?
20. We were the worst. We were 30th in the entire NBA. Now, I don't know where we're at right there, but that's got to be good enough for at least top 15. Yeah, if you could find that, would be great. And Celtics are right there pretty much. They're 24.9. It's about 25. It's the same. Field goal percentage, 46%. They're at 46.8. 3-point shooting is the big disparity there, and that's actually tonight, going with that small ball lineup, coming back in with Cam, Obi's hitting his 3, RJ's 3 starting to come around, just keep Randle away from shooting threes. And I think we can match up pretty well. We have a good matchup today.
Yeah, with that small ball lineup, it should be easier for us to close out as well. We don't have anybody like lumbering. Like at times Mitch is decent closing out, but at times he can be slow. Same thing with iHeart. If we have Julius Randle, Obi, Cam, RJ, and Jalen Brunson, everybody should be moving on the string quick in their rotations to close out and things like that. So I think it can definitely be a tool we use in this game. And just to let you know where the teams are in assists per game, Knicks are 14th in the league, Celtics are 15th.
We're 14th, they're 50th. Yeah, see, we're right in the middle. Good. Actually, tonight it's going to be a challenge tonight because Grant Williams will probably get a lot of time, and he's a big who plays out on the perimeter. Yep. And Isaiah Hartenstein, that's actually how you pronounce it. He said self-admittedly he struggles guarding bigs who can shoot the three because it's just not the way he's used to playing.
Even though he shoots the three, which is ironic.
The irony of that.
He can't guard himself.
Yeah. Gregory Lee, thanks for this, man. Brogdon is the key to Boston beating us. Brogdon is going to be an issue for us to deal with, especially since we're also missing Grimes. Because in that second unit of Grimes, if Cam was starting, then Grimes would be in the second unit and he could deal with Brogdon. So it's going to be tricky. But IQ's been playing some good, solid defense. He's got the length to bother him. So that should be interesting, but he's definitely going to be someone who could possibly hurt us tonight. I feel like Brogdon has hurt us in the past when he was like with Pacers.
At times, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, what do you think? You think we can win this game?
Yeah, I think we could definitely win this game. It'll be difficult. You see the Celtics, they've got two guys that I would hope RJ and Cam could blossom into, and Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So it's going to be imperative that we try and do what we can to make life difficult for those guys. You're not going to stop Tatum. I mean, Brown, you have a little bit more success trying to frustrate and things like that. But with Tatum, we've seen this season, it feels like he's taking his game to another level. So Tom Thibodeau's going to have his hands full trying to scheme up some defense to try and contain Tatum, especially when we don't have that defensive presence in the middle with Mitchell Robinson. I know we talk about small ball, but Mitchell Robinson has a great impact out there defensively. I think when you see him come out the game, teams are a lot more willing to attack the paint. And we saw that again in the game against the 76ers. Once Mitch was out, Montrezl Harrell was a little bit more comfortable trying to feast in the paint and things like that. So without Mitch, Tatum is going to have a little bit more of an opportunity to get into the paint and score. So it's going to be on to Tom Thibodeau to try and get these guys together to what? No Mitch or Mitch playing?
No Mitch, but Tim Botemps just tweeted out, with Quentin Grimes and Mitchell Robinson both out tonight, the Knicks are starting Cam Reddish and Isaiah Hartenstein in their place. Blake Griffin is starting for the Celtics in place of Al Horford.
Oh, they throwing in the towel? Oh, man, we better win this game. They're starting Blake Griffin. Things are tough. Things are rough over there.
Man. And you know what? The other reason I like this matchup, and I predicted this as a win, I believe I did. I hope I did, because I've been eyeing this as a win, because for some reason, yes, Brown and Tatum are fantastic, and I, give my pinky if RJ and Cam could blossom into those two guys. But for some reason, it could be the Boston, New York thing, especially at the Garden. Both of those guys, and you and I were talking about this, both of those guys don't normally show up together, have big games versus the Knicks at the same time. It's usually one guy goes up, the other guy kind of struggles, or vice versa, or they both have kind of like a somewhat mediocre games, but both of them balling out. I think maybe only once or twice in the past three in the Tom Thibodeau era have we seen that. And then there's the Fournier factor. Fournier, he lights it up against Boston. So if he's coming off the bench, he's going to be playing against weaker defensive competition. He's not going to have to deal with the Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown out there in that second unit. Hopefully he can light it up. Be nice to see him, hit 4 or 5 3-pointers to make him start feeling good. So we need him. We need him to play well. We need him to do his thing. Either way, because for one, it helps us win on the offensive end and raises that value up so that we can move him at some point.
ASAP. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yes. Oh man. All right. Well, this has been a great pregame, man. Great. Let's go into the chat here, man. Got some great comments and stuff over here. Let's see what we got. East Blue Drew, what's up? Good to see you, brother. Silver Surfer, shout out to you, man. Silver Surfer says Brogdon gonna tear Brunson up. All right, we'll see. Yeah, Brunson's he's a defensive liability. That's for sure.
Which is nothing new for the Knicks. I think every year we've had defensive liabilities. When was the last time we had a lockdown point guard?
Well, I guess Peyton was the last time we had a good.
Peyton was come on.
Not locked
down.
He
decent defender. He wasn't a yeah. Come on. When was the last time we had one of those?
When was the last time? Greg Anthony.
Right.
I mean, really, when was the last time we had a
Knicks guards always get cooked.
Well, Derek Harper was
some cook in the back. That's all we worry about.
Yeah, it's been a while. We got so what's this here? Baysider Jr. says into the Knicks-Verse. Mitch, Rob, knee sprain out 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days. That's about right. If it's a slight sprain, I could see that. FIBA Fournier 30 bomb. I love that. Crow Noir. Good name.
Well, he goes off against the Celtics, though.
Yeah, he does. Let's see that, man. Let's see that. All right, we got 170 in the chat. This is awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. Hit that thumbs up button when you get a chance. And if you get any thoughts or whatever later on, just drop them in the comments. I read all the comments, and I really appreciate that. And check out Sports Vibes TV if you don't subscribe to Quis and his channel and Foxy there. Definitely do that and catch their awesome Sunday live stream that they do every single Sunday, where they recap the week and what's happened and what's coming up. It's a great show. And also shout out to Foxy. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Foxy.
Happy birthday, Foxy.
Yeah.
He's always out enjoying himself right now.
That's right. He's having a steak. Go for it. Let's see here. Sosa says starting 5: Hartenstein, Randle, Cam, RJ Brunson. Small ball should be Randle. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, okay. Well, quickly, you put in quickly here, but I wanted to say this. I'm going to put it out. I'll say what mine is, and I want to ask you what yours is. I think it's very possible that the most effective lineup against most effective small ball lineup against a team that has a larger point guard. So last night was Maxey. He's little, so it's not as big a deal. But a team that doesn't have size in the middle but has size all around, it might, like having Quentin, when he's healthy, play the 1 along with the other 4 could be a really interesting small ball lineup. What's your feelings about that? And I think we actually have talked about this before a little bit.
Yeah, we mentioned it because Grimes played point guard heading into college and things didn't work out. But we saw him this offseason and in the summer league trying to work on and fine tune his ball handling skills and things like that. And we saw some promise in summer league. So if he's able to continue to develop that, get healthy, then he can definitely be an option in closing minutes. I mean, we did see Thibs, go offense defense with Brunson and Grimes, and moments of last night's game. So it could happen. I mean, I think Brunson, with what they've done, trying to bring him in and what they've paid him, I think he'll, for the most part, be entrenched as one of the closers. But if there is a situation where we do have a larger guard that is giving him fits and we need to make a change, then Grimes could be an option. I mean, Quick could also be an option. Quick is solid defensively.
Quick could too. Quick could too.
6'4", he's 6'3" or whatever the case may be, with a long wingspan, and he played solid defense, so he could be an option at that point, at that position as well. And we've seen him run the second unit, so I think right now he might be a little bit ahead of Grimes.
We've seen him play with the first unit a lot.
Exactly.
He's had I don't know how many minutes, but he's logged a lot of possessions with the starting unit next to Brunson. And vice versa. Brunson's played with the bench as well. which got to shout out Thibs for that. That he's been experimenting, even though he's been doing it kicking and screaming. I think I tweeted out something like he acts like a little kid who has to be forced to go to the dentist. He just bitches and complains about it, but then he does it. So it could be IQ out there as well. Depending on those big guards. For example, the Pacers. Now,
Halliburton.
Like a Halliburton kind of guy. You don't want Brunson going up against a guy like that.
Halliburton been balling, bro.
Oh, yeah, he's been balling.
Halliburton and Mathurin going to be a dynamic duo for years to come.
Oh, and Mathurin. Oh, well, we here on the Knicks-Verse, man, we were crying out. I said, remember that was one of the scenarios in all those draft videos. Yes, I know Ivy and all that stuff, and would love that. But what about like a little mini trade up to get to that like 6th position, 7th slot? Grab Matthew. Yeah, I just had a feeling he was going to be fantastic, and he has been, man. When you look at his
off
numbers,
the bench too.
Off the bench, fabulous. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this. Really appreciate all the support. You guys, fantastic. What a great fan base, man. We're lucky. We're lucky that we have each other, really, to deal with all this Knicks stuff. And last night was tremendously exciting. It was almost like I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing.
Yeah.
And it gives me hope, actually. It gives me hope. And I think this could really spur on a whole new level of play from each of the players themselves. Because when they see a coach, doing a shift and it works and everyone's starting to feel good and it results in a win, then the promise that if you stay ready, you're going to get your chance. Last night, he proved it. So everyone's got to get ready, get in that good positive headspace, because that negative headspace that we saw against the Hawks was just devastating,
brutal. And now we just need some positive reinforcement tonight.
Yeah. And even though we were winning in last night's game at the half, we didn't look that convincing. We were worried, and Maxey was cooking us, and we're like, oh man.
Maxey was cooking us, and we didn't look like a far superior team. We were playing like that second unit. Our second unit should have definitely extended any lead.
And we didn't
against the 76ers second unit.
Obi struggled in the first half.
Yep.
Yeah.
We couldn't hit it. We couldn't hit anything in that first half. Nope. Both teams, but you can understand why the 76ers couldn't make a shot. They didn't have, some of their best guys out there. We had a pretty healthy squad, and we couldn't drop a penny in the ocean.
No, not at all. It was a brutal stretch, and Brunson was struggling. Even though his stats were looking good, he just his decision making was a little suspicious here and there. But he finally broke through. Man, he also provided some huge buckets in that late fourth quarter run to take the lead and hold on to it. Yeah, it was a great performance. I hope we get to see more of that tonight. In fact, the game is going to start very soon, so we are going to sign off.
But before you sign off, Gregory asked a question. He said George and Quis are coming back online after the game.
I will definitely be doing the post-game show, but we could do it live. Are you around, Quis?
As soon as I log off, I'm taking my ass back to work. I'm on lunch.
All right. So there you have that answer. But yes, I'll definitely be doing a recap. Definitely be doing a recap after this game. Because either way, this game is going to tell us a lot. We're going to learn a lot about this team. Because it really was. I really do think Tom Thibodeau's coaching days were numbered until that 6 minutes and 40-something seconds of last night's game. The last of that. Man. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching this. My name is George. This is Quis. Subscribe to both our channels if you haven't done so yet. Very much appreciate that. And we will see you around the Knicks-Verse.